Hi, I'm Shelby Sim. Welcome to Discover the Santa Ynez Valley. This week, the sky's the limit. It's a beautiful morning in Santa Ynez, and I'm ready for an amazing breakfast. Just walking up to the baker's table, you can smell the fresh bread and coffee. Let's sample some of their delicious delicacies. Amy, thank you so much for having us out to the baker's table.
Thank you for coming.
Please tell us about the baker's table.
So the baker's table opened in October of 2012, and having a little bakery cafe was always a dream of mine. And so I finally did it in over the course of a couple of years. And then I opened and started out very small in the front and serving only breakfast pastries in the morning and a few lunch items. And quickly moved into wholesale business after that and have expanded over the last 7.5 years, just little by little, and to what we have here today.
Excellent. It's a beautiful space. A spot for locals and visitors alike in the beautiful, quaint township of Santa Ynez, one of our 6 communities in the Santa Ynez Valley. All of this looks amazing. It looks like we've got some breakfast and some lunch dishes.
We do. We have, these are our morning pastries here. We have a variety of croissants here and some scones and cookies. If coming in and having breakfast and sitting down suits your fancy, you can also do that. Over here we have an oatmeal bowl right there. That's a steel cut oatmeal, orange, almonds, and a mascarpone cream on that.
Delicious.
So, and you can enjoy that with a mimosa if you'd like, or coffee. And then over here for breakfast we have a French toast, and this is a brioche French toast that we offer on Saturdays and Sundays.
And then some lunch items?
Some lunch items. Here is our Cobb salad, which is probably, I would say, our most popular salad. Everybody seems to really love the Cobb. It's a nice, big, full meal.
Yes.
We have your favorite, our Reuben. And this is corned beef with our house-made Thousand Island dressing, Gruyere cheese, and then we serve it with a side salad. And then on a healthy note, we have a farro bowl here. And this is an herbed farro with roasted beets, peppers, cauliflower, and a little bit of feta cheese on top. So, and those are just a couple of our breakfast and lunch offerings.
And it looks like we even have a dessert.
We have a dessert. This is a small German chocolate cake, and we also make large cakes, custom cakes, wedding cakes. So I just wanted to, display a small sample of our cakes.
For sure, and you do catering as well, and or wholesale. You supply bread to the different restaurants in the valley?
We do. We supply bread to restaurants in the valley and Santa Barbara, bread and pastries. So we deliver those 7 days a week to up here and over the hill in Santa Barbara.
That's great. So a little taste of the baker's table all over the Santa Ynez Valley. Well, this all looks amazing. Can't wait to dig in, especially that Reuben over there. But we have something in our glasses. Can you quickly tell us about your wine and beer selections?
Sure. So we have mimosas, and those are available anytime. Most people choose to drink them on Saturday and Sunday mornings. We carry Fig Mountain beers, and we also carry 805. Here I have the Fig Mountain 101, and you have the Hoppy Poppy.
Hoppy Poppy IPA.
And we have F2 Syrah Rosé, grown right up the street here. The grapes are grown right up the street, and the local winemaker. And then this is Santa Rita Hills La Fond Chardonnay.
Well, cheers.
Cheers to you.
dig into this stuff.
Okay.
Amy, everything was amazing and delicious.
Thank you.
Thanks again for having us out. How can we find out more about the Baker's Table, about your specials and what's going on?
We are on Facebook at The Baker's Table SY, and we are on Instagram at @thebakers_table. And the phone number here at the bakery is 805-688-4856.
And a website?
www.thebakers-table.com.
One more cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. After a delicious breakfast in San Ynez, I'm ready to head just a few miles down the road to Los Alamos, where I'll be checking into the Skyview. This retro property has become an awesome throwback to motor hotels of the 1950s. Ava, thank you so much for having us out to the Skyview Motel.
Hey Shelby, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming out.
Please tell us about the property, how long you've been here and what your plans are and the kind of customer you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So we opened as the Skyview a little less than 2 years ago. So as you can see, this is kind of like a mid-century modern property. It was originally built in 1959. When it was purchased, it wasn't in great condition, and it was pretty different than what you see now. But almost 2-year renovation, where we tried to preserve a lot of the really cool kind of mid-century modern feel and architectural aspects of the property, but turn it into a modern luxury boutique property. And so we have a full-service restaurant called Norman. It's a play on Norman Bates, because everybody would always say that they would drive by here and say it looks like the Bates Motel, so we decided to kind of be playful with that. We have a full bar craft cocktail program that's great. The Skyview Hotel has a heated pool. It's the original, 1950s style pool. And we have on site, we have working vineyards. We have a Pinot Noir grape that we make into a rosé that we serve at our restaurant and offer guests at check-in. It's our goal to have working gardens on site that we can eventually use for the restaurant. And so yeah, so it's been a great journey. There's been a lot of change that's happened to get it the way it is now. We get a lot of guests from all over. I would say predominantly from Santa Barbara and LA. There's a lot of people doing the 101 drive that stop through, but Los Alamos is such a great destination. It's become known for its food program, so we get a lot of people coming to check out the restaurants and to stay with us.
How many rooms does the Skyview
We have
Motel?
33 rooms total.
33 rooms total. And are they all the same, or do you have different levels?
Yeah, we have different styles. We have sort of our basic room, which is our classic. We have junior suites. We have our deluxe, which are really popular. They offer vineyard views with private patios with fire pits, and then also little fireplaces inside the room as well.
A lot of times Los Alamos is referred to as Little LA. I like to refer to the Skyview Motel as Little Palm Springs.
It has that feel to it.
It really does.
Especially in the pool.
Yeah.
And during the summer when it's busy and everyone's out there and having cocktails and lounging, it really, you definitely feel like you're somewhere.
So I know that you rent bikes.
Yeah, so we offer bikes to our guests complimentary. We have a fleet of Ynez bikes. Guests love to check them out for the day. You can ride your bike into town or just throughout the area.
Less than a mile away, down the Skyview is Los Alamos, with a lot of great restaurants on Bell Street. What is the experience like when you check in?
The check-in, we try to make it special and unique. We offer the glass of the Skyview Rosé, which is made from grapes, that are grown on site. We also do a peanut butter cookie at check-in, a little bit of like that nostalgia. I think most people like peanut butter cookies.
Absolutely, yes they do.
Yeah.
How do we find out more about the Skyview Motel?
Oh yeah, so Skyview, you can find us on Instagram, Skyview Los Alamos. We're on Facebook as well. And then our website is skyviewlosalamos.com. You can learn more about the property, see more photos, you can book rooms. There's a link to book reservations at the restaurant, menus, information about events. It's all on the website, as well as contact information.
Ava, you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us out.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It's been great to have you, and it's such a perfect day.
It's a gorgeous day in the Santa Ynez Valley. It's time for some lunch, and I feel like pairing it with wine. So I'm going to sit down with well-known locals Frank Ostini and Gray Hartley at Hitching Post Wines. They just opened a new tasting room and patio next to their iconic restaurant, and we're going to enjoy the food, wine, and views of the valley. Frank, Gray.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having us out to Hitching Post Wines.
Fun to have you.
Please tell us about this amazing property and the concept and what the heck's going on here.
How much time do you have?
Plenty.
Go ahead.
So we've, of course, been here at the Hitching Post restaurant for 33 years, 34 years now.
Wow.
And of course, my family has the Hitching Post Casmelia. That's 68 years in my family. So we're a mainstay of the Central Coast, and of course, been in the St. Ynez Valley as long as anybody. And just in the restaurant, but our wines were always in there. And now we've picked up the property next door. We have a whole total of 12 acres. We're able to have a wine tasting room and a lunch venue and an afternoon appetizers, wine bar situation. Over here, it's an all-day experience.
And some evenings from Friday night and Saturday night, we're open until 8 p.m. and you can have light appetizers as well as wine.
Wonderful.
So
Wow,
all
that's
this
great.
is cooked in the restaurant, delivered over to the lunch venue next door by a tricycle or an electric cart. So it's hot food off our grill, which is of course the Santa Maria Oakwood barbecue, made famous by, my family in particular, but everybody on the Central Coast cooks over this wood fire, and that's the concept of all of our food. We serve a lunch menu over here at the tasting room, which is hamburgers and sandwiches and salads and French fries. Of course, we have steak dinners in the restaurant that we've been doing forever.
And the restaurant is less than 100 yards away.
Just
Famous,
right next door.
Hitching Post 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're at Hitching Post Wines. And how long have we been open here?
Just a little over a year.
Just a little over a year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what a view behind us. Another great example of the beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley. Gentlemen, I see we've got some lunch out here in front of us. It looks great. Can't wait to dig in. But let's talk about the wines first. What do we have?
We have a dry rosé by the name of Pinks. You'll note the lovely pink color. It's actually a reflection of my commercial fishing in Alaska, the pink salmon that I used to fish for in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Here it is, dry rosé of Val d'Agui, 80% and 20% Pinot Noir.
And your grapes are out of?
The Pinot Noir comes from the Rio Vista Vineyard in the St. Ynez Valley here. The Val d'Agui comes from French Camp up in Paso Robles.
Okay.
But it makes a very crisp, dry, high acid wine, and we like that for going with food and for drinking without food too. It's refreshing, very enjoyable and very much appreciated. It's a modern style of rosé that's taken after the French. And in California, we've been doing this for about 10 years. But it's a wonderful category of wine.
How about this here? We got a
So we have
white wine.
this is a Chenin Blanc called Forerunner. Our first Chenin Blanc, actually, dry, barrel fermented, just like Chardonnay. So it's a kind of unusual style, but very refreshing and very good acidity. Very much a food wine also, but a little creamier and very easy to enjoy. Not quite as serious as Chardonnay, but in that same style of barrel fermented Chardonnay.
Yet seriously delicious.
Seriously delicious.
Yeah.
And it's a wine that's kind of seeing a re-emergence, right? Coming back. It's becoming pretty hip.
Yeah, it's an old grape, and like these are 40-year-old vines, and I think there's a few vineyards locally that are very, very much of that age of wine and of vines, and they make very interesting wine, and they've become very popular of late. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And this, I would imagine, is your flagship Pinot Noir, perchance?
This would be our wine called Highliner.
Highliner.
Which is sort of the best wine of our. Well, it of course is another fishing term named after the best fisherman in the fleet, and it was our best wine of our fleet of wines when we started making this back in what year, Greg?
1996.
96. So
Yeah.
we've been making this blend of several appellations: Santa Maria Valley, Santa Rita Hills, brought together, famous vineyards like Bienesito and Sanford and Benedict. And we put these flavors together, different vineyards together to make this blend, and it's been kind of magical and has worked for many years. It would have been also the wine featured in the movie Sideways.
Movie Sideways. About the food, before we dig in, what do we have in front of us here?
Well, we have a
What's
selection
great?
from our lunch menu, a vegetarian option, a grilled corn and cheese quesadilla, a cheeseburger, which is sort of the classic, we're known for the burger thing, a steak sandwich, which is like tri-tip and caramelized onions, and then a chicken and grilled corn salad. So we have a little bit of everything.
What have you got up on the corner there?
Oh, there's the grilled artichoke, which
Artichoke.
of course we've
Yes.
been famous for 25, 30 years in the restaurant, and we serve that over here too.
Very fun. Well, I cannot wait to dig in. How about a toast, gentlemen?
Toasts are good.
To the St. Ynez Valley.
Cheers. Ynez
Come
Valley.
visit.
Thank you. Gentlemen, outstanding. Thank you again for having us out. Wow, really good.
Thank you, Shelby. You know, we sort of strive for quality always in the restaurant. That's been a theme since what I learned from my parents. And when we opened the lunch venue, we wanted to use that same quality orientation in a more casual, of course, setting. I mean, this is just, you can bring your kids, you can bring your dogs. I mean, this is as casual as it gets.
Yeah, and if you're
11:30
riding your horse up the San Ynez River, you can tie him off at the tree right down there and come on up and have lunch.
Well, that's pretty convenient.
It's
Giddy
been,
up.
It's been done.
Yeah.
It's we have customers that just have a ranch just up the river a tad, so they do ride their horses over.
Everything we've spoken about, and just enjoying the food, enjoying the wine, and I know that we remarked on it before, but just how beautiful the setting is. And you can come with a family, and you can come when you have a busy day and relax for a moment, but really you can just come and sit and look and take it all in and breathe deeply.
You know, Shelby, we have people who come here on a regular basis. They come, they get a glass. In the tasting room, they come out and they find a nice little cozy spot in the sun and read their book for 35, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour.
And you are a huge part of the community. You're iconic, in fact. When they were first building this property, I traveled the 246 back and forth quite a bit, and I would see both of these gentlemen out here building fences, putting up signs in plus 100-degree weather.
100-degree weather. My brother and I
happen.
were out in front putting up the fence, and people would see us day after day, and then they'd start honking.
Yeah.
So I'd be putting in a screw into the fence, and somebody'd honk, and I'd wave, "Hey, nice to see you," and go back to work.
Restart.
Could never see who they were. They were driven by all
Right.
the time.
We just waved.
wave at
Did you see me? Oh yeah, I waved. Yeah. You know, the first day we were open, we opened the doors at 10 o'clock. It was 11 o'clock, and 10 minutes later there wasn't anybody that had pulled into the parking lot. So I got a glass of rosé, and I went and stood up on the front fence by our sign, and I swirled the rosé and waved at people, and they'd honk and they'd wave. Finally, about the fourth person came by, pulled in. That was our first customer.
We have a lot of fun.
You do have a lot of fun, and you guys are incredibly generous with the community as well. You're part of many foundations and boards, and always generous with not only wine but food and your time.
Well, it's our home.
Yeah, and
We want you to be comfortable and welcome in our home here at the Hitching Post, as well as the Ynez Valley.
Thank you, Gray. Cheers. How can we find out more about Hitching Post wines?
Well, it's hpwines.com. Look us up on the internet, hpwines.com.
And for the restaurant,
hitchingpost2.com. So,
the number 2.
number 2. Yep.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Ha-ha. Thanks, Shelby.
I am excited to be ending a perfect day in the Ynez Valley by taking off with Sky's the Limit ballooning adventures. Let's talk with owner and pilot James about what it's like to fly high above this beautiful area. We're here with James of Sky's the Limit Ballooning. Thank you so much for having us out today, James.
Pleasure to be here.
Please tell us about your business.
So we started operating in 1997, flown over 70,000 people.
70,000.
70,000.
That's cool.
And flown all over the world, and found that Ynez Valley is a perfect climate and mountain range for being able to do this, because it's a transverse mountain range. It's one of only like several transverse mountain ranges in California. So the winds stay pretty good, you know, to where we can operate in the mornings and afternoons.
So you've flown everywhere, and the Ynez Valley was where you picked to.
Yeah, I just have, there's a beauty of this valley. It's untouched between the oak trees and all the beautiful birds, the animals. We fly over wild boar, foxes, deer.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this here in the valley?
For 27 years I've been operating. I've been in the valley for about 8 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. And what kind of folks go up in the balloon?
Generally we get a lot of people from LA, but mostly it's people celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, and just a lot of celebrations. We can take up to 16 people in our baskets at a time. We have 7 balloons, so it can accommodate up to 50 people in one given day. And but right now we're averaging about 4 to 8 people. We offer private flights for people. That's a big thing right now this time of year. Engagements, proposals, you name it, we can do it.
And is it only couples, or is it families as well? Or?
A lot of families lately. You know, a lot of people coming up for the weekend, doing a little wine tasting trip, and then they come up, usually either from San Francisco and do that route down to Los Angeles, or come from Los Angeles up to San Francisco.
How young can your passengers be?
5 and up.
5 and up.
A little bit, you know, below 5 years old, they're a little bit timid, shy, scared of the burners, the loud noises. And, you know, it's a little bit more appropriate for 5 and up.
Yeah. So what can we expect when we go up in the balloon?
So basically, it's the sensation of no sensation. So basically, we're going to take off. We're going to fly with the winds. There's no turbulence, no swaying in a basket. We're just gliding with the wind. There's also no motion sickness. People always are fearful that there's motion sickness. If you're fear of heights, it's something that it's hard to explain, but you won't be afraid in the balloon, just based on what all the elements that are going on. Tell you a little history about the valley. We do a little champagne while we're flying, so that kind of softens it for people.
James, really excited to go up. Thank you so much again for having us out today. I've invited some friends to join us. And how can folks find out more about Sky's the Limit ballooning adventures?
They can go to skyslimitballooning.com, or they can find us on Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Viator. We're on all those social media platforms. Our Instagram page, skyslimitballooning.com, and Facebook.
Privately, he had told me that he's hit the same mark 450 times in a row. And so I'm going to call you on it now and see if we can do it.
See if we can make it.
Yeah, excellent. All right, we'll see you in the air. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been another amazing day in the Santa Ynez Valley. Join us next week on Discover the Santa Ynez Valley.
Kind of a little tradition, guys, do a little champagne toast after all of our balloon rides. It started in 1783. And the reason being is because two crazy Frenchmen in 1783 launched a little paper bag over a fire pit. And these two brothers, the Montgolfier brothers, said, wow, I wonder if we could make something that float across the ground and travel some distance. So they built this big balloon out of paper, used straw to heat it up. You know, imagine what happened 50 feet off the ground. It burned. So what they had to do is think of a material that could withstand the heat. So they came with the idea of silk. But silk was very expensive during that time. The only person who had that kind of money was the King of France. So they went to the King of France, asked him to build this nice big balloon out of silk, sent up a chicken, goat, and a pig. And when they looked inside the basket, they noticed that all the animals had survived, so they knew survive fight this time. So they built a bigger balloon, flew over the farmers' fields like we did tonight, and when they landed, the farmers attacked them with pitchforks. Thought they were devils from the sky, tore the balloon up, tore the basket up, and after a few times of this happening, they were figuring out balloon was becoming very expensive. They brought this bottle of champagne on board, and when they landed, they presented this bottle of champagne to the angry farmers. Farmers saw the champagne, realized they were Frenchmen because the only person who said champagne was the King of France. They greeted him with open arms, balloons were getting torn up, and that's why we serve champagne after all of our balloon rides. They came up with the balloonist prayer that we live by every day, and it goes like this. The winds have welcomed you with softness. The sun has blessed you with its warm hands. You have flown so high and so well that God has joined you in laughter and gently set you back down into the loving arms of Mother Earth. Calm, gentle breezes throughout life. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. That is awesome, James. Thank you.
You're welcome.